Cashews out here. I'm about to film a video, but I wanted to show you him. He's a little shy still. Hey, buddy. Zoom in. You look so grumpy. Do you have a good dinner? He's just hanging around our campsite, being our friend, but he's still so shy. Look at that little guy. He was here, we just went to the store, and he was here when we got back from the store, so I'm gonna sit down and film a video now. Hi, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Mickayla, and this is the Calico and the Cow. Last week we talked about the fact that we're moving again. We're hopefully done living the tiny life soon-ish. Told you guys we toured some houses. We're moving to like our dream location and settling down, planting roots finally after moving like 10 or 12 or something times in the last like 6 years. We're ready to not live in a camper anymore. We're ready to have our own little farm, homestead, and just all the stuff that comes with that. If you're new here, my boyfriend Taylor and I currently live in our camper in Charleston area, South Carolina. We are from Michigan. We just moved here in early June, end of May. Next weekend, on Sunday, we're actually moving upstate to like northern South Carolina, like at the border of North and South Carolina. If you haven't caught up on the last video, I would suggest going to watch it because we've been touring houses. So 2 weeks ago we toured houses. 3 weeks ago we found out we were moving. 2 weeks ago we toured houses. And we had an offer accepted on one. I haven't told you guys which one yet or anything about it really, just that it's in Western North Carolina. We made an offer, they accepted it, and we had the inspection this past weekend. So this video is going to be about all the houses we toured. We toured 4. I'm gonna show you guys 3 of them, and I'm gonna tell you finally which one we chose. So I've had a lot of people asking me which one we chose, and I haven't wanted to jinx it, and I'm still kind of nervous to tell you about it, but I'm going to do it because I'm excited and I can't wait any longer, and I want to share pictures. I'm going to walk you through some pictures of the houses we toured. I'll probably pop up pictures on the screen, and I'll tell you what we loved and hated about them, and then again, lastly, which one we chose. So I'm going to give you the details on the 4 houses that we toured. One of them I don't really have any pictures of. I might try and find some from the Zillow listing to show you, but I'm gonna just start with the first one we toured, and that one was a split level. It was an hour away from Taylor's new job. I think it was on an 1.5 acres, and it was listed at $275. Pros, it was like mid-century vibes, 2 fireplaces, really nice backyard even though it was on a hill. It had like a whole, like the lower level was like a really cool music / guest space that we could use. It had 3 bathrooms, and then 3 bedrooms in addition to the basement like guest area. And it had a garage, and it had really pretty mountain views. The cons of that one were the garage wasn't really functional for Taylor to work on cars. It was more functional for like storage of cars only. It was on a hill. The lot was only 1.5 acres, and we were looking for like 2 acres if we could get it. The kitchen needed a complete remodel, and really like their finishes were like not the nicest. Everything looked really beat up, and like they had just sort of like slapped stuff together to like make it look prettier for pictures, but when you looked up close it was like real dingy, and like you would have had to reprime and use the actual paint you should use. They just used flat paint on everything. It needed a whole new kitchen, and we wouldn't have been able to add an accessory structure for like another garage space for like a workshop because of the only flat part of the yard that would have been usable for that was the septic field. It had deed restrictions as well, so I don't think we could have any animals there. The second house I'm going to talk to you about is one that I didn't even take any pictures of because it was $299,000. I think it was $299,900. It was on 6 acres, which is amazing. That's like more than we need, which would be amazing still. Like, I'm not gonna complain about 6 acres, 6 or 7. It was like a really old house. I think it was built in like the 30s, maybe? I don't know. It might be somewhere around there. It had extra spaces, like more spaces than we needed. but like it didn't have technically like a lot of bedrooms. I think it only had 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, even though it had extra rooms that weren't counted as bedrooms. I think it had like 3 living rooms. It had a garage technically, but it was like a weird garage, like more of a storage shed with like an odd door on it that slid off. The problem with this one was it needed an entire gut job. So like really all it had going for it, like pros wise, was a lot of space, and it had some original flooring. It had some I think it had a really pretty fireplace and like nice windows and everything, but like the floor was like roller coaster. The ceilings were all really gross, and it was a complete gut job. And it also was at like a weird 6-way intersection, so we would have had to deal with that, and it was busy and we just didn't love it. So we weren't about that one. It was too expensive for needing to be completely gutted. $299 was like $50K more than we wanted to pay for anything, and then we also would have had to do like a full remodel of it. The third house it was listed at $235. I think it was 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and then it had like an extra space that we could have used. I think it's technically a dining room, but it was like closed off with like French doors or something, or like a cased opening. We could have added doors and used it as like a music space or like my office / guest room. This one had the entire original kitchen, and it was like full on 70s style, I believe, like wood paneling kitchen, a wall oven, and that kind of stuff. It was pretty cool actually. It had really nice flooring. It had 1.5 acres, I believe, but it was like a really skinny lot, and it went really far back, and after initial yard that was probably like 1/4 acre, it dropped down, so you weren't able, it was really not usable. So that one was $235. It was a really nice house. It was actually probably the nicest house we looked at, but the lot really was not gonna work for us, so that was probably like our second up, because it was cheaper, it was nice, we could have moved right in, and we think we could have probably sold it in a few years to find something better if we had to get that one. Okay, so now on to the last one. This is the one that we made an offer on. It's also the one that was the biggest nightmare. But I'm gonna tell you why we got it. So this one was listed at $229, and it's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and it has an entire unfinished basement that's like the whole size of the house. So the house is like 1,300 square feet, so technically we'd have like 2,600 square feet of space once we were able to finish the basement. And in the meantime we can use it as storage. It doesn't have a garage, but it has a 1.5 car carport. This one was on 8 acres, you guys. 8 acres, which is insane. I can't even, yeah, it's insane. Pros on this one are, obviously the land is amazing. It's in a beautiful setting. You can't currently, because everything's filled in with like leaves and whatnot, all the trees are filled out, you can't currently see the mountains from it, but if you step out like to the shoulder of the road, you can see mountains either way in like the clearing of the road. So I think that in the winter you'll actually be able to see the mountains, which is pretty cool. Again, it has the full basement, which is awesome. I can use that as a root cellar, like future food storage area. We can finish the base, is a huge bonus. There's infinite amount of space to put a garage. We found this past weekend at the inspection that it has at least 1 natural spring and stream coming from it, like really close to the house, which is super neat. It has like partially wooded, partially pasture. It has like literally a fence. It's like most of the property is already fenced in. It has like a 1/2 acre fenced in garden area. That's gonna be my garden area in its own. We found again this weekend, it has fruit and nut trees. We found at least 1 pecan tree. Everything's really overgrown. It's an abandoned horse farm, so we need to get a lawnmower and start hacking away at it. It's halfway covered in kudzu, which is kind of daunting to think about. It has a fireplace. It's a gas fireplace, but we could convert it back to a wood burning if we wanted to at some point. And again, it has 3 bedrooms, it has a bathroom downstairs, and it has a bathroom upstairs, and the kitchen is huge, like absolutely huge. So those are all like big bonuses. We can have animals there. It's close to the town that we're moving to, like 10 minutes. It's really close. It's just like overall a really nice location, and the setting is really pretty too. The cons. It's a mess, you guys. The house is an absolute disaster. So we had our inspection last weekend, which we had it Saturday, so it was like 4 days ago now. So I'm just gonna go over like the main issues that we have to fix right away. The HVAC system. It needs a new furnace. Like, it has an oil furnace. The oil furnace doesn't work at all. It also doesn't have AC. It's gonna be like $7 grand. Electrical. There are some electrical issues, as in like someone chopped the entire electrical off at the whole, like to the whole basement. The panel needs to be upgraded. It's like a giant mess of wires everywhere. Roof. So when we first toured the house, we were looking at the roof and we're like, okay, the roof looks good, but the ceilings in the house, there are parts of the ceilings that look like there's some water damage, and we're hoping, looking at the roof and looking at how good of condition it is, that the ceilings were old water damage that they never fixed, and they had fixed the roof in the last like 10 years or so. Well, when we got to the inspection, we walked in the door and literally there was like a puddle. Like, it was actively pouring outside, and it was actively pouring inside as well. There was a puddle like as soon as you enter, like straight down the hallway, kitchen, giant puddle, actively dripping. So the roof needs to be fixed. It needs a new roof immediately. That's the first thing we're doing. Thankfully, Taylor's best friend is amazing and he does roofs. So he's gonna come live with us and he's gonna help us do a roof. And also, because of the leaking that's actively happening, we have to rip down all the paneling. Yes, it's painted paneling. It's disgusting, but we are gonna live with it for the time being. Unfortunately, we have to rip it all down. Darn. And put new drywall up, and we have to rip down the ceilings and all the insulation from the attic and re-insulate the whole thing, redo all of the ceilings, redo all the drywall, remove the paneling, all that kind of stuff. We have to take down like the kitchen cabinets and at least partially redo those, because we'll eventually redo the kitchen layout too. Also, the floors are really, really ugly, red, glossy laminate, and they're really ugly, and they're also waterlogged now, so those get ripped out. We're going to be living with plywood floors for a while until we can save up the money to get new flooring. We have a camper to stay in while we're doing all of this work. Like, we're gonna stay on the property. Appraisal was scheduled for today, so I'm really hoping that the bucket that we had to put under the roof leak isn't full of water for that appraisal. The next priority is the garden. While the guys are working on the roof and finishing the interior stuff, I'm gonna be working on throwing away all the trash that's on the property, because it's just like a huge lean-to filled with trash and furniture and stuff that needs to go. I'm also going to be working on setting up garden beds and mowing and like getting garlic planted as soon as possible. I already ordered all my garlic seed. There's an entire, I think it might be venison, I'm not sure. It's too overgrown to tell. We have like a dedicated zone for an orchard. With all the house projects that we had to pay for, we don't have money to buy a bunch of trees right now. So unfortunately, the orchard is gonna have to wait probably at least a year. Which I'm bummed about, because I wanted to get the orchard started like immediately so that we could get produce from it as soon as possible. But it's just gonna have to wait because trees are expensive. I have get my drone from Arta's house when we go up to visit in a few weeks, and I'm hoping to take drone footage of the property so you guys can actually see it all laid out. We would really love to get goats and chickens as soon as possible, because there's probably 2 acres just kudzu, it's covered in kudzu, and goats can eat kudzu. And that would be ideal, but again, that's probably gonna have to wait until at least next year. We're hoping to get chickens. I don't know if I can get chickens in the winter. I need to read up on it a little bit. If you know, please tell me below. I don't know anything about chickens yet, other than I want them. So some people have suggested pigs. We're not really interested in getting pigs. I'm not opposed to it. Taylor's more opposed to it than I am, I think. But we didn't really like, that's not like something we picture ourselves like dreaming about having. It's more for goats as like companion animals, because the animals on our property won't be for meat. They'll just be more companion, pets, eggs, like that kind of stuff. I don't know. I feel more pulled towards goats. I'd like to have ducks, and maybe like long term alpacas would be really cool, but just a few, and yeah, it's not even on my radar right now. A spot picked out where I think it would be really cool to do like a U-pick flower farm. We'll see if that happens. That's again way in the future, but I think it would be really cool to do. That was a lot. I hope you enjoyed kind of walking through the houses we toured and daydreaming with me about our future property. Hopefully, like, cross your fingers for us that the appraisal goes well. I do plan on filming like all the home renovations and just like transforming the property in general, so it won't, a lot of the future videos are not going to be me sitting here talking to you, because I feel like this can get boring. It's more podcast style right now because I can't really do much. I want to film the whole process of setting up the gardens and just everything we're doing, all the projects. I'm going to try and film them for you guys and share what we're doing and how we're doing it. Basically, we're going to be starting a homestead from scratch. I will have a camper tour for you guys. We're currently working on getting the camper like nice and cleaned up and organized for our trip on Sunday. That's all I have for you guys today, so go buy some merch. We got some cute t-shirts, there's hoodies, there's kids shirts, there's long sleeves, anything you can think of. Crew necks. And my Amazon storefront link down below. There's some camper renovation stuff in it if you're interested in that. There's books, gardening stuff, like my favorite house things, that kind of stuff. I plan on making an Amazon wish list at some point for once we start getting to homestead projects and we need to buy, like, we're starting from scratch, you guys. We literally, I don't even know. We don't even have a shovel. we don't have a rake, we don't have a shovel, all that kind of stuff. We are gonna need everything. So I'm gonna make an Amazon wish list. You can find the link to my blog below. Most of it is recipes right now, and they're vegetarian based, but I always try to include alternatives. So if you want to add meat to it, or if you want to make it fully vegan, or if you need to make it gluten-free, I try to add those like little tidbits in there. I plan on putting future renovation stuff on the blog, future homestead stuff on the blog. I post, so if there's anything in particular you want to see on the blog, please let me know in the comments below. If you want to have more frequent updates on what's going on in our lives and usually what I'm cooking for the day, follow us on Instagram at the Calico and the Cow. Post there pretty much daily on my stories, and I do weekly meal inspiration of like what we're having for meals every week. That's about it, so I am going to sign off now. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to comment, like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. I hope to make this channel a source of income in the future, so you subscribing and liking and engaging with the content really helps. It'll help fund our future homestead projects, and it's free for you, so please do it. I will see you guys next time with a camper tour. Bye.